Well, we moved on from the disappointment of Saturday night, learned our lessons, working hard to apply them, and getting ready for FIU at home. And we had a good practice today, and the energy was good, and their focus was good. And now we have to, go out and prove that we're a better team than we've shown, especially last week. And I told the guys after the game, I said, that's not the team that I've seen in meetings, not the team that I've seen on the practice field, but that, unfortunately, is the team we are because we're 0-2, and we just got beat bad at Georgia State, and that's the reality of the situation. So we have to continue to just work and look for answers and put our guys in the best position to make plays and then demand that they make those plays. And if we do that, then we'll rise up. And if we don't, then we'll struggle. It's pretty simple. So I think we have a group that'll rise up. And we've been in a hole before. I think this is my first time as a head coach being 0-2, but we've been in a hole before, and prove that we can dig out of it. So that's what we have to do. And I like their intentions this morning. But until you prove it on the field on game day, until you prove otherwise, you are what your record is, and you are what the score says you are. So. Right now, that's not very good for us. So.
Obviously, last year the running game was your strength. You were banged up, and so why do you think you haven't been able to run the ball as effectively so far this year?
I think two different reasons in two different games. I think in the first game, I think you're right. Even though statistics looked okay in the first game, they were skewed by the one run. We were playing a really physical front there. They beat us a few times. We weren't exacting in our getting off doubles and getting to the second level. We didn't find the holes enough. We didn't have the ability after a while to throw the ball very effectively, so they were able to load up the box. This past week, I'm not sure. I think the responsibility of a coach is my responsibility. This coach, my responsibility is to make sure that every time we go out and play a game, that we have done everything we can to put our players in the best position to succeed schematically, and with what we've practiced and how we've practiced. And I'm not sure that we did that last week. And it's the player's job to go out on game day and execute. And I'm not sure I shouldn't say I'm not sure. I'm sure we didn't do that last week in terms of putting them in the best position, and I'm sure that we didn't execute as well as we can. And, that's probably an answer you get from every coach, but it's pretty generic, but it's really true. That's why you get the answer, So we have to do a better job as a staff, starting with me, of making sure that, and I've told you guys a million times, making sure we put our players in the best position to do what they do best and keep them out of situations where maybe they might struggle. And then we have to do a great job of practicing what we're going to do against what we think we're going to see. And then we have to go out and execute on Saturdays. And we have not been able to do that for 2 weeks. And it's disappointing, but we're going to keep digging and digging and digging and finding answers and working hard.
Do you have an update on Joe? Do you think he'll be ready to play Saturday?
No. I'm never going to lie to you guys, so, I don't want you to ask me this question, but he's out for the year. He has to have surgery Friday. So he's done for the year, unfortunately. It's really devastating for Joe. As a team, we have great confidence in Taekwon, obviously, and Zion behind him, but it's devastating for Joe. So it's a fairly significant injury. We didn't think it was that significant until they got a real good look at it with the MRI. And so Friday he's scheduled for surgery, and he's obviously pretty down about it. So kind of a reverse situation from what Taekwon faced last year. Taekwon got hurt that second drive and was lost for the season, and Zion came in, and now this year, the guy that was the starter ahead of Taekwon gets hurt, and now Taekwon gets his chance again. So we have a lot of confidence in him, and we're really disappointed for Joe.
And Taekwon, I know you said it was kind of empty yards at the end of that game, but is there anything that maybe looking back that you like seeing from him?
Yeah, I think probably the statement of empty yards, if it came off as I was being negative about Taekwon, I wasn't. I liked the way he played. I liked the certainty he played with. I liked the velocity he put on the ball, the touch, the confidence that he displayed. I just don't want to get I don't like to get excited about yards in the second half when you're down a lot. Just like as a defensive coordinator, you know, when teams get some yards on us in the second half when we're up a lot, like, you know, you kind of play the game a little bit differently. You might have some different people in there. But no, I mean, Taquan came in and he absolutely gave us a spark, you know. And I would say that he's probably got a chip on his shoulder, which is a good thing. So, you know, listen, we have all the world in Taquan, or he wouldn't have been named our starter last year. And it wouldn't have been such a hard decision this year. It came down to the very end, and as I told you at the time, everything was so close. And at the end, you kind of go with your gut. So, you know, these are two really good players, and unfortunately, you know, for Joe, he's out, and he'll come back strong. But I'm excited. I think everyone's excited to watch Taquan. And at the same time, we feel for Joe.
Kind of similar to the feeling, you know, Zion coming in.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You know, and you know, you hate to use a player's injury as a rallying cry, but I think it's kind of natural. You know, and then Alex Honig, you know, his injury looked pretty severe. They're still looking at it. They've got to let the swelling go down. So we're not sure the severity of it, but he's out for sure this week, and I'm sure for several weeks. When I went over there, I think I told, you know, after the game, his kneecap was dislocated, and you know, I thought his knee was dislocated, which would have been, you know, tragic. But when they straightened his leg back out, it just popped back in, and my stomach turned. So I hadn't really never seen that before. Some of the things that happen on a football field are unbelievable. I mean, the brutality is unbelievable.
Is there something different about the offensive line? I mean, everybody expected that unit that helped you rush for 190 yards a game last year, didn't give up sacks, was going to come in and be the strength of this team. They played poorly so far. I mean,
You can say that.
it looks like it from the outside.
When you consider the expectations, that's an absolutely fair statement for you to make. Yeah. I don't know that I'd go as strong as poorly, but you absolutely can. And if that's the observation, it's because, you know, we have high expectations for that group. And, you know, I think I go back to the first thing I said is it starts with me and the staff of making sure we put them in the right position and making sure that we practice the right things and play to their strengths. I'm not sure we've done that. And then, you know, it's incumbent on them when they go out on the field to execute, and I'm not sure that they've done that. And, you know, I think sometimes you wonder, did they get big-headed? No, they didn't. They work, you know. I mean, they care. Like you'd be surprised how much extra work our offensive line puts in on their own. And it hasn't gelled for us up there yet. And I think, you know, when that happens, you have to, as a coach, go back and the first thing is say, are we doing the right things? Are we practicing the right things? Are we putting them in the right position to do what they do best? And I think if, you know, I say this is about the fourth time I've said it because it's so true, is I can't say we've done that, you know, and that falls on this guy right here. So we're gonna make sure, we have made sure that we've gone back and evaluated and get them into the things that we do best.
What is this?
Here's let me tell you one of the problems that happens. This is a common coaching problem. Work expands to time allotted. Schemes expand to time allotted. We had 2 games where we had extra prep time. And because we all think we're the smartest guys in the room, coaches, what we do is we get creative. And then that creativity sounds really good on the blackboard, but in reality, you're asking guys to do too much or do things they haven't done enough of. It's a very common coaching error. And I know I fell into it many times, and I'd say every coach that's ever coached has fallen into it. I think that's part of the issue right here. And I interrupted you.
Just what is the strength of the offensive line?
Cohesiveness, size, mobility, the way they care. You know, they take it. Leadership. I mean, there are a bunch of leaders up there, and how important it is to them to be good. Like nobody's taken it lightly that we haven't been able to run the ball, and we ran the ball. Was it 31 times for 50 yards? Yeah. At one point, we had 14 carries at the end of the first quarter. We had 14 carries for 12 yards. You know, I mean, that was, as you said, you know, you said it. So it's hard to dispute.
Defensively, what's been the issue on third down, opponents converting 50% of the time?
Different things. The quarterback run, obviously. You know, in the first game, his ability to scramble, that got us. You know, in this game, the quarterback run. You know, a couple of the pressures, we didn't play tight enough coverage up the field, and they hit us. We were better in short yardage. You know, one of the keys is getting them into 3rd and longer. You know, like that 3rd and 17 that they ran for 26 yards, that was 100% on me. We were in a pressure. Wanted to try to keep them out of, they were on the edge of field goal range, wanted to try to keep them out of field goal range, didn't want to play like a soft zone that you'd normally play on 3rd and 16 and give them 10 yards and stop them, and then they kick the field goal. And when they audibled, we should have came out of the pressure that we're in, because with our 2 guys walked up into the A gap, it didn't give us a chance to play the quarterback run. And I got stubborn, and I was like, screw it, play the call, rather than being intelligent and getting us out of the defense. And so this goes back, didn't give our players a chance right there.
Coach, in general, the FIU quarterback is a true freshman. In general, how do you try to take advantage of the inexperience?
You know, it's a good question, because I told the players this last night. We haven't earned the right to call any quarterback a freshman. You know what I mean? Like, quarterbacks have rushed for over 250 yards on us, I think, in 2 games, right? And I'm not saying the completion percentage has been great, but you know, this guy's a capable player. He wouldn't be starting for them. So, you know, it's got to be about us, you know, and just if we play hard and we play exacting and we play together in terms of, you know, being on the same page, then it shouldn't matter if a quarterback's a freshman or a senior. So I did address it very quickly, and what I said is I don't want to hear anything about this guy being a freshman quarterback, because we haven't earned the right to say, oh, he's a freshman. You know, but there's things that you try to do schematically, you know, to cloud his ability to see a coverage, you know, right off the bat. So.
How confident are you in this team's ability to bounce back off of last week?
I'm very confident in it, but I need to see it. I need to see us bounce back. But I'm confident in it. You know, I'm confident in it because I can base it on, you know, a lot of things that I see behind the scenes, you know, all the time, and the look on their face, and the energy they bring into a meeting room, and the intensity they take to practice, you know. But, you know, until it happens, there's still a question. But I'm confident in our ability to do that, yes.
Jim here in the back.
Yes, sir.
You talk about putting your players in a position to be successful. How much of that is live in-game action, where you've got to make your own decisions as a staff to get them in position to be successful?
Oh, it's ongoing. You know, it's certainly, it starts when you start to game plan and you put your scheme together. That's where it all starts. But in a game, you have to be ready to adjust quickly. You know, and we did that on defense for the most part. You know, I mean, we played as hard as we have played since I've been here on defense on Saturday. It was so skewed by a 65-yard quarterback run that's about as ugly as it can get, right? And then we put our backups in there, and they hit a 33-yard run that's about as ugly as it can get. And like I said, the 26-yard run when I screwed up and put us in a bad call. But you're always, like, we made a ton of adjustments defensively. And offensively, you have to too. You know, it's like a chess match. Everyone talks about halftime adjustments, but those adjustments are going on between each series. And you're hoping that, you know, as they change, you have to adapt on either side of the ball. And I think, you know, we do a pretty good job of that. Haven't done a good enough job of it this year, though. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't seen a lot of Taekwon so far. Is there some skill that he brings that kind of gets you excited or gives you some confidence going forward with him?
Yeah, I really like his I love the energy he brings, the passion he plays with, the intensity that he plays with. You know, I think you see it in the way he moves around out there. I think he's commanding. I think he's got tremendous arm strength. Sometimes too much, you know, for some of the throws that need a little touch on him. But I also think he has the ability to keep a play alive. I think that this is a guy that has fought through a ton of stuff. You know, transfers, didn't get to play a lot at Penn State, transfers, comes here, earns a sterling job, gets hurt, rehabs all year, you know, is just fighting his tail off to be the starter, isn't named the starter, starter gets hurt, now it's his time again. So, you know, I feel like that's something that is motivating to him, you know. So that's something that gets me excited about seeing him play.
What have you liked that your team has done so far? What can you wrap your arms around and say this is what they're really doing well?
Really doing well?
Or just that you like, I guess, is that.
What do I like? I like the way George is punting the ball, which is not a great thing to say because that means we're seeing him too much. But honestly, and I'm not being facetious, and I was thinking about that. I actually thought about last night. Who or what has been better than expected? And it's our punter. And listen, it's a real positive for George, but it's a sad commentary on our first two games.
Speaking about your special teams, do you plan on making any changes?
Yeah, we need more speed on the kickoff team. We need to do a better job of being exact in our blocking on our kickoff return teams. Like I said, we're punting the ball well. George is punting it well. Shoot, we haven't forced enough punts, you know, so I can't give you a whole lot about our punt return. I thought our kickers kicked off better. You know, I think, shoot, I'll be transparent as hell with you guys. The first kickoff, Joe puts it 5, 6 yards deep in the end zone. I think the first time we kicked off, and they brought it out. Well, to me, you know, we told the players that's a sign of you're an opponent that's saying screw it, because you know you see now guys 6 yards deep in the end zone, 5, 6 yards, right? They stay in or they do this and they take it at the 25. So, you know, you got to take that stuff personal as a coach and as a player. But you know, yeah, that's about it.
What about your pass defense? Small sample size, but 22nd nationally, statistics-wise. You're rotating a lot of guys in and out of corner. Just overall, how have you seen them play? It seems better at the point of attack on the field.
Yeah, it's better. I was disappointed in a couple of the third downs. Like I spoke about earlier, I thought our coverage was a little too soft. I don't know where we rank. I think, you know, you said it's a small sample size, and it can be misleading because the quarterback are running so well. Now, you could say that's because of tight coverage, but I'm not sure that's always the case. You know, when you go back to I was thinking of a Virginia quarterback. You go back to our first game against NC State, you know, that guy was one read. If it wasn't there, he was going. You know, this guy, when he threw it, you know, we covered him pretty well, but they didn't have to throw it a lot, you know, because they were having success. He was having success running the football. When it's not a quarterback running the football, we're playing really good run defense against normal runs. The problem is that the quarterbacks are running the football, and we're not stopping that.
How much changes as far as offensive game plan to take on versus Joe?
Not much. Yeah, not much. I don't think that you have to change a lot. You know, I think if you went and looked at everything we did through training camp, there was a rotation in practice. They were basically running the same plays, getting the same reps. So, you know, each of them has things that they do well and things that they could do better. And so you're always going to play to their strengths, but they're minor things. They're not wholesale changes at all. It may look different. Like if we can get the run game going, then that opens up everything, you know. And then people might say, well, and Taquan throw it down the field more. It would just be a function of us, you know, running the ball better. Quiet, as it should have been. Reflective, as it should have been. You know, asked everyone after the game, everyone, you know. I understand after a game that, you know, players need to blow off steam and there's some laughter and some chatter. But I asked everyone respectfully to respect each other and reflect and think about what each of us can do better so that we're not in this situation anymore. And the players listened. You know, they were quiet and they were tired and it was late. But it was a pretty somber football team, you know, and it should be a somber football team at that point. So that's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it's a good reaction to a bad thing. Positive reaction to a bad thing, bad situation.
They practiced again on Monday, right? The 24 hours.
We didn't practice Monday.
Well, anyways, the first time you saw them after the
Yeah. Oh, we had dinner Sunday night. Yeah.
What was the energy like there?
Well, it's kind of a 24-hour rule we have, right? Is whether you win or whether you lose, you know, you got to shake it at some point, right? And so, you know, at dinner, I just talked to him for a couple seconds and give him just a quick recap of the game. We always have a family dinner on Sunday night, so there's kids around and families, and it's just you know, it's kind of okay. Let's get over that one and let's get on to the next one. And you know, I kind of reiterated some of the things I told him after the game, and but then, you know, said, hey, it's 24-hour rules in effect. Okay, it's time to learn the lessons, apply the lessons, and move forward.
How was Malik Dixon progressing?
Good. He practiced today. You know, I haven't watched the film yet, so I don't know how he was moving, but what I saw on, you know, with my eyes out there, and I wasn't focusing on him every play, he seemed like he was moving around well. I thought Stan Cross played pretty darn well, too. You know, we have a lot of confidence in Stan back there, and he gives us an element of coverage. So, but of course you want, you know, all your players available.
The young guy, like, leading the left, getting a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. He did well. So we, you know, that was a tempo offense. They were going fast, real fast, and we just felt like we needed to rotate our secondary through. You know, we're always rotating our defensive line through, as you guys know. That's a hard position to play, but we rotated our secondary through, and I think it's good to get some of those young guys reps, and then to see them play well. You know, that's a good thing. We got Isaiah Davis in there. He got to play, and getting Lee in there. He hasn't played a lot. It was good, and they showed up. Lee's one guy that over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks has really kind of taken off and has done a good job for us. He's really grown up. I think he's going to be a good player. So, okay.
Sorry if you answered this already, but could you talk about FIU and what they do well on offense?
Yeah, we haven't talked about them at all. Let's talk about them for a sec.
Just give me an idea of what to expect.
Did you?
I asked about the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. FIU, what they do well, they're very athletic. They have a scheme that they run that they believe in that's sound, and they execute it well. They have a quarterback who's young, but he has mobility, and he's getting, you know, his third start, and his confidence will grow because of it. They put some points up last week, you know. Defensively, they fly around. You know, Coach Mack is a defensive coach. They give you some different looks up front. They play aggressive. They play physical. You know, and they're a good football team. I think the most important thing for us to do is, you know, learn who they are through the week, prepare for them, and then we just got to go out and we've got to really focus on playing our best football, regardless of who we're playing and what they're doing. You know, let our rules tell us what to play, and then how we play is going to be so important. So, but I have a lot of respect for them. You know, I've gone against Coach Mack several times. He's a really good man. He gets his teams ready to play, and they're disciplined and they're physical, and they're very athletic. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a good day.